Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here, and today I am with speaker and mental health advocate Lauren Breen. Hi Lauren, how are you going today?
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're very well. It's the two Laurens today on Rave It Up. But welcome to Rave It Up. It is your first time on the show, and it's an absolute pleasure. This lovely lady organised my interview with Kevin Hines, and once we're chatting like nearly every single day, and I'm like, I need to get you on the show, girl. Like. After watching the movie, I'm like, you have an incredible story.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to chat to you about it. Plus, we got along so well anyway, so I knew it was going to go along really well. But you are originally from Australia anyway, but you're living in America now. So how is it to be back home?
It's been...
Even though you're in Sydney,
yeah,
Perth,
so I'm from Perth. It has been amazing. I've actually been back for 5 months. I originally was only supposed to come over for 2 weeks in September and then come back for Christmas. But just randomly, I ended up needing to get my gallbladder out. So
lovely.
Yeah, just very random, very lucky it happened over in Australia.
I thought you were about to say I just missed it so much.
Yeah, very lucky it happened in Australia. So I couldn't travel, so I've kind of been not stuck here, but here for a good 5 months, which has been really nice. Spent some time with family and still working, still busy, and back to the US in a couple of weeks.
So you can't go back over to Perth though, can you?
I was in Perth when it happened.
Oh, luckily.
I know, very lucky. So it's been good here for Christmas, and then this is my first trip since Perth. So back to the US in a couple of weeks.
So how's your mummy looking after you?
Well, I think it's more so me looking after my mum. So, it's
gotten to that point of the relationship.
Yes. Right. The lucky thing's upstairs currently, enjoying her room service. So she's enjoying the perks, that's for sure.
Or still sleeping, either one.
Yeah, probably still sleeping.
Yeah. So what have you been doing in Sydney? You only arrived last night, so
arrived late last night. So a few meetings today, interview with you, and then just prepping for the 2 premieres, Sydney tomorrow and Melbourne on Saturday. So busy.
Full steam ahead. It's great. I am really grateful for you to come on the show because, as you just said, you already have a lot of stuff to do while you're here. And you watched my interview with Kevin that I think just talking about suicide and depression is really important these days. It needs to be a normal conversation instead of something that makes people feel uncomfortable. And with Rave It Up, it's a great platform to showcase that. So I'm really glad you can come on. We can talk about the real stuff in life.
The real stuff, the life stuff, yeah.
Yeah, especially through, successful people and celebrities. It kind of shows the listeners that everybody goes through it.
Yes.
We all go through those thoughts, and mental health issues are just the extent of it, I guess, whether it's really bad or not. But it's great that we could be on the same page.
Yes.
At the beginning of this interview. For those who don't know, your story is an emotional one as well, and very close to your heart. The reason you got into this field is because your brother Aidon committed suicide. It was back in 2008, wasn't it? When he was only 19, guys. Still had the whole life ahead of him. And then you wrote a book in 2012 called Trust: Surviving the Ripple Effect of Suicide. I have. Did you find it a good way to cope?
Yeah.
That's a few years in between when it happened and when you actually released it.
I started writing it in 2009, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I kept editing it and changing it. So it definitely was a therapeutic process to start with. Kind of getting my thoughts onto paper, and then when I would go back and review it, I was like, well, this isn't really a book. Like, I had to sort of edit it and mold it and change language and all of those type of things. But writing and journaling is such a therapeutic way of dealing with emotion, and even with clinical practice, they say writing and journaling your thoughts and feelings is really important. So it's a practice I've taken since Aidon passed away, and I've tried to encourage as many people as possible to utilize that. I'm getting my mum to journal, and all my friends, they're probably sick of me saying it, but no one else has to read it. You don't have to publish a book. You don't have to put it on iBooks and get people to purchase it, but being able to write down your thoughts and feelings, it just gets it out of your head, and it's a good start.
Well, I'm really glad you published your book though, because I've started reading it.
Oh, okay.
I'm a very slow reader, and I didn't get to finish it by
not the longest one
today.
either, so you should be okay.
Yes, but it really drew me in straight away on the first page, because I only knew obviously the minimum from the movie of what happened, but when I was reading it, you were saying there was this one time at a party and he was calling you drunk and saying he wanted to kill himself, and then he was fine, he got off the drugs, and then he died just shortly after. So that's a big shock.
Yeah, it is. And I think knowing what I know now and being nearly 10 years down the road of education and training and working in this sector, you learn so much more, and it's this is what I want people to learn before something like that happens. So knowing that that was a cry out for help, and that, you know, as a 19-year-old kid, he knew exactly what to say to psychologists and the people in the field. He knew what to say to get himself discharged from hospital. So knowing what I know now, it's wanting to educate people that these are cries for help, and that there are things we can do to help people that are going through that. You know, if I wish I had known what I know now.
Yeah.
You never know if that would have saved him, but I feel like I would have been equipped with so many more tools to be able to help him. Even just being able to sit with him and going, I don't understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you.
Yeah.
It's simple things like that that you don't really know until this happens. I didn't even really know who the Lifeline were. I think I'd heard of them, but never really had connected with it because it had never happened to me before. So it's trying to educate people who these people are, where the resources are, what tools you can use before that happens.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Because when he got off the drugs, was there any signals or anything to know that he was still thinking about it?
I think looking back, his signal, which is a little bit different, was he was kind of saying farewell to everyone. He was getting around to all his friends and just sort of wanting to see them all. And in his way, I think he was saying his goodbyes. So if we had have sort of known the extent that it doesn't just end when someone gets discharged from hospital and that they're all fine, and if they say they're fine, they're fine. If we had have known more, we would have been able to sort of sit down with him a bit more, connect him to some more resources or some more clinical supports. And his friends as well, having a friendship group that is also aware of what to do is important, having those support structures. Because that's, you know, it's still affecting them 10 years down the line, all of his friendship group, you know, they're still going through it.
Yeah.
And, you know, my brother wasn't the only one within their friendship group that died by suicide. So
Really?
it's this, what we call, you know, Kevin, we call the ripple effect. There's that positive connotation of the hope that can happen and the powerful message of, you know, hope and storytelling. But there is also that negative ripple effect that can happen when people don't educate themselves and don't talk about what's going on. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's a challenging subject, but we need to be more comfortable talking about it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
asking people, are you okay?
Yeah. Is his group of friends now talking about it more?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, they definitely are. They're a lot more connected. You know, we all still talk about Aidon all the time. He's still a part of our family. But they definitely talk about it more, and they're encouraging their friendship group. They're all starting to have kids now. They're talking with their kids about it.
Good.
This is the important step. You know, it shouldn't have to take a tragedy like that for you to learn how to talk about things, and that's what we're trying to do.
That's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Because we don't want that to happen to more people. Jeez, that's really good though, and it's good that Aidon's still being talked about, and not just like, oh, okay, that's a sensitive subject, we shouldn't talk about it.
I mean, that brings up a really good point. I always say the onus has to be on the person that has lost a loved one, or if they've gone through a suicide attempt, to talk about it. Because we experienced a little bit of stigma after Aidon died because no one really knew what to say to us. And I can completely understand that. I wouldn't have known what to say. So the onus has to be on us as those people and family members to say, hey, this happened. You know, we're not ashamed of it, but we need to talk about it.
Yeah, because it's not just a normal death. It's actually that he's chosen to leave this earth.
Yeah. So we have to talk about that. We have to bring up his memory, and we have to educate people. It is on us to do that.
I can see why you just automatically decided to do something about this, because you have to, yeah. And it's good that there's, when I was talking to Kevin, going, there needs to be more people like you in the world.
Yeah.
You are one of these people. There's many of them.
There is.
All in the movie, and all in your little your circle.
Yeah.
Now, the statistic is nearly like 1 million people die annually by suicide. So, from your opinion, why do you think that suicide rate keeps rising every year? Do you think social media is...
The scary thing is I think it's a little bit underreported.
And that too, very true.
And, you know, that's from a number of things. I mean, when Aidon passed away, we were asked whether or not we wanted suicide to be written on his death certificate or not. And that is completely up to the discretion of parents and loved ones. So you can see how a lot of people that self-stigmatise might not want that. But we wanted Aidon to be counted as one of those suicide statistics because it's important to have that representation. So that was our decision, and obviously families are a little different. But, you know, 1 million people worldwide annually is scary. And I do think they are going up, but at the same time, I think we're just learning more about it. people are becoming more aware. We are raising more awareness. Yes, different countries are at different levels of raising that awareness and wanting to talk about it. I feel like Australia, we're a little bit ahead after spending 2 years in the US. I think we're kind of past the raising awareness point and we're into the what are we going to do about it?
What do we do? Yeah.
Yeah. We've got these awesome campaigns like Are You Okay? We've got our Headspaces, the Man Up series that happened. So we've raised all of this awareness and we're ready for some action. The US, I still think, is in the little bit of the raising awareness point. So, stats are always scary, and whenever I have them up on any presentations that I do, I always remind people these are people. These were loved
Not
ones,
just a number.
community members, friends, family, colleagues. And I hope that we see statistics starting to go down, but we still have a lot to do. A lot to do.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
It's horrible to hear. And I did read as well that the estimated financial cost of suicide is $40 billion annually. Why do you think that is?
It's sort of lost revenue and people, mental health days, taking sick days and not being able to function, not feeling like they can go to their boss and saying, I need a mental health day. Not, I'm feeling really sick today.
It's not normal to just say that. Yeah.
Where I worked back in Perth at Anglicare, we had a thing within our team that you let us know if you need a mental health day. So you're not having to come into the office the next day and be like, oh yeah, I wasn't feeling very well.
I was sick.
I was sick. Yeah, let us know you're having a really crappy day so we can support you. And we're tending to find that number, utilising that number, is actually having more impact when we're going to organisations and things, because big corporates and big businesses don't want to be losing money. It's all about money and numbers. So if we can go in there and say, hey guys, this is costing your company a lot of money. You need to do some better mental health first aid training. You need to get people in to talk about this. They will actually start to listen if you give them a financial number, which is a shame.
It's just really sad instead of going, care about your employees.
In big businesses, that's what it's about, and that's what we're finding traction with. So there's a lot of studies and a lot of research going into that economic cost now, which is good.
Oh, good.
We need to use every tool that we have.
Well, I'm glad I brought that up then.
Yeah.
There you go. And how do you think, what are the signs that we should be looking out for? And I guess kind of bring it back to Aidon as well, the signs that we should be looking out for if someone is thinking about doing it, because we need to stop it before it's too late.
I think the main thing that I've learned is not waiting until you get a bit of a weird gut feeling about someone. Like, if you do...
It's like, oh, they're looking a bit depressed.
Yeah. I think it's being connected with people a little bit more. It sounds so simple, and we all say that we want to do it more, but we're all still, stuck
in
on
our
our
phones.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I'm exactly the same. I don't know what I'd do without it. But it's connecting with people, checking in with them, even if you don't think anything's wrong. Like, hey, how you going? Like, what's going on for you? Being able to connect that way is really important. But, the main signs are, people withdrawing. If you're noticing people aren't connecting with you as much, maybe not on their social media as much. I mean, that is a pretty telltale sign now. When were they last on Facebook?
Especially if they post a lot,
exactly.
And then it's like, ooh.
That's an instant thing. If you're noticing that their language is changing on some of their social media posts, or, if you see them out and they do seem a bit more disengaged, a lot of people feel those gut signals and know when someone probably isn't right. It's the fear that we have as individuals about, if I'm to sit next to you and say, are you thinking of killing yourself? It's the fear of what you would say, yes. People are scared, like, oh, what do I do?
What are we supposed to say after that?
Ooh. So, and this is the thing with people, you don't have to put them in a bubble and save their life. It's never the responsibility of the person asking the question to save their life. But it's your responsibility to be able to sit with them and say, okay, have you got a plan? What other details have you got? I'm just going to sit here with you and let's just sit. Even if we sit in silence, I'm here for you. I've got your back. That is the most powerful thing, because, and it's, what Kevin does all around the world, creating these safe spaces for people to say, I'm feeling like crap. Yes, I am thinking of killing myself, because you've just given someone permission to talk about the most deepest, darkest pain that they've felt without judging them. No judgment is so important. And we all do it. We all judge people.
Because then they're going to open up more with that no judgment, which is nice.
Yeah, and just being able to sit there. But it's, we do a lot of training with assist training and mental health first aid about not being scared if someone says, yes, I am thinking of suicide. That's okay. Like, they've opened up to you and told you that. That's actually a really good first step.
It's better than hiding it.
Exactly, because you can sit with them, and if you really think there's an imminent danger or threat, you can contact the Lifeline. You can get them to help. So it's just people, they get scared about, oh, what happens if they do this? So it's educating people along those lines.
Which is something I always think about too. It's like, oh, what do I
what
say if they do say yes?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't ask that question because they're worried, and one of the best trainings that I've done is the assist training, because it's 2 days and it teaches you how to ask the question, are you thinking of killing yourself? I could rattle it off 100 times a day to people that I meet because I'm so used to saying it. But if you've never asked someone that question before, it feels terrifying.
Wow. Where do we do this assist training then?
Anyone can do it. A lot of the local lifelines in Australia will sort of run group sessions, and a lot of the time they'll have some free or sponsored spots people can attend, like community members. But it is one of the best trainings that I've ever done. Challenging. You do a lot of role play, which I'm not very fond of, like sitting in front of people and
like,
practicing.
Drama again?
Yeah, where it's, it has sort of really shaped the way that I work with people, being comfortable to ask that question.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this then. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna look into it. I hope everyone else does too, because it needs to become the norm.
It does.
So the movie that we are talking about, in case people don't know, is Suicide: The Ripple Effect, new documentary. And I really want to know, because I've chatted to Kevin about it, but how was your experience making this film? Could you pop up a few times?
Yes.
This beautiful face.
Oh, God, I don't know about
sharing
that.
her story.
So if you guys have watched the interview with Kevin, you would know that he is very eccentric and loves to talk, and
definitely a speaker.
He's definitely a speaker.
Yeah.
So I first met Kevin over social media. Really didn't know a lot about him. Knew a little bit about his story, and I knew that he was filming this documentary. This was about 2 years ago. And I'd sort of messaged him a few times, just said, I would love to be involved. Like, I can retweet things and just send me some links. Like, this is an important subject to me.
So it started off small.
It did, really small, as it always does. And then I received a message from him, and he'll laugh about this. This story is, we always tell this story. He messaged me, I think around the 10th of December, and said, hey, Lars.
The date.
I do. I'm pretty sure I've still got the Twitter inbox. Hey, Lars, coming over to Sydney, Australia to do some filming for the documentary. Would really love you to be involved. Let me know.
Wow.
So I read this message and I was like, oh my God, like, I have to do this. This is so exciting. Like, what an opportunity. So I messaged him back. I said, okay, well, when are you coming? What dates? Thinking it would be like the middle of the next year. Blah, blah, blah. I'd love to be involved. And he goes, I'm just about to board the plane.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say, is it going to be like, I'm coming next week?
Yeah, no, I'm boarding the plane. I'm
now.
in LA. I'll be there in a few days. Can you also see if you can find anyone else that wants to be involved and find us somewhere to film?
Talk about a little last minute
I should have known. So we got it done, and that is kind of where what we class as Team Ripple was born. So, you've got Kevin and his amazing story, but we brought together some other advocates that I'd been working with in the sector and that Kevin had contacted as well. And, this was what we class as Team Ripple. We might be individuals that we might not run our own organisations. I know I've never wanted to run my own organisation. There's already amazing organisations out there, but I still have power in my story. So it was giving people space to talk about their stories in a hopeful way and an appropriate way to allow others to do the same thing. So yeah, we came over to Sydney, we did some filming. I think Kev is the first to admit that he didn't really know what it was like to be around a group of Australians. It is definitely a different experience. Very loud, very rowdy. And I think he was a bit, woo. And then from there, he kind of brought all of us over to the big behavioural health conference in Vegas in 2016. So, yeah, and we kind of did some more filming, and it's just grown and grown and grown from there, which is amazing.
That's incredible.
It's bringing what we class as the lived expertise or the lived experience of suicide a bit more into the forefront, working hand in hand with researchers and clinicians. We need to try and utilise everyone's information and knowledge, because what we're doing at the moment, people are still dying. So we need to try to do some more innovative things. So
bringing more people on board.
Yeah, so it's been an experience. It's been 2 years now since we did the first lot of filming. So to think that we're here now and we've got a premiere tomorrow. It's a shame Kevin isn't here, but he'll be back in the middle of the year and we'll do some more. But it's been quite an interesting journey.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And what's it like working with Kevin?
Now
I've had a whole 40-minute Skype session with him. I get a good vibe of what he's like.
He is.
In a good way, Kev.
We sort of say, and I laugh about it a lot, he kind of sets a really unrealistic standard for a lot of people. He deals with a lot of his own stuff. He still is diagnosed with his bipolar. He still has all his medication that he has to take. He still suffers symptoms and paranoia and everything every single day. But he handles it like a boss. He gets up every morning. He travels 300 days of the year. He looks after his wellness like no one. He looks after his wellness more than I do, and I don't have a diagnosable mental illness. So he really is a mentor for me, and someone that I look at and say, I need to start looking after myself better. Like, if he can do it with everything that he deals with, I need to be able to do that as well. And I think that's what people see in him. Like, they see this guy who can be goofy and funny and loves to talk, but they look at him and go, he still goes through all of the same stuff when he tried to take his life. He's just learning to manage it and learning to look after himself. But we have fun, you know, we travel all over the US with his wife Margaret as well, and all of the other Team Ripple members, and it's always entertaining. If they had a dash cam, like in the car,
behind the scenes footage,
oh, it would be so funny. Like, he is a character, and he, you know, he enjoys his life.
You should do that next time he's here.
Oh, it would be funny. You know,
it'd be a lot of great
footage. This time last year we were all over doing the last lot of filming, and you know, everyone he meets, there's a story. He just brings out the story in them, and he has that power over people, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
I love that he brings hope to everybody, and you know, everything you just said about that he's still living with all of this. It just shows he's human. Like, it really it gives people, I guess, an insight into his life, and that even after something like that, even surviving it, you're still going to have thoughts like that. You know, a lot of us do, and we just got to, you know, keep working on that recovery. So good on you, Kevin, you know. Now, Lauren, you are also the co-founder of Conquer. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? How did that come about with
so I flew over to the US, Vegas, to the Behavioral Health Conference, and at that stage I hadn't met Kevin's wife yet. So met Kevin's wife, Margaret, in Vegas, and instantly, she is a boss lady. She
looks like it.
Oh, she is one of the most amazing women I have ever met. And I said, sorry, Kev, I love you, but I think I love your wife more. I can't speak more highly of her. She's amazing. So Margaret and I decided that, you know, over in the US, a lot of organisations are doing a lot of similar things. There's not a huge amount of groundswell with regards to lived experience yet over there. There are some advocates like Kevin that do travel around, but not as many. So we sat down and we said, you know, we have an amazing sort of audience that we can tap into. You know, Kevin speaks 300 days of the year. He's at every school, military base. Like, what can we do? It is a lot of talking. You know, what can we do differently? So we decided to come up with Conquer, which is Courage, Normalize, Question, Recovery.
I love that.
And it's based off lived expertise and research. So we're wanting to bring the two things together and say to people, you know, storytelling can save lives. Saying it in a hopeful way with appropriate language, you know, all these things, it can save lives. People telling stories, you know, Kevin, it's not just Kevin's story. Yes, he has a powerful story, but there are so many people around the world that have their own stories that people would connect with. So we started Conquer as an organisation, and it's taken a bit of a backseat this year because we're doing all the film stuff, but you know, being able to travel around the US and meet school kids and, you know, primary school kids that they know this stuff, they're going through it, and being able to talk to them and have them come up to you at the end of a presentation and just tell you their story is, I think for me, was one of the most challenging things to start with.
So it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, because I just wanted to just take them home with me and be like, this is, you know, oh my God, I can't believe that you're going through this. But
it'll be all right.
Yeah, but you know, knowing they know this stuff, they're going through it. So we need to find ways to engage them and give them hope and let them know that it's okay to talk or ask for help. These are really important. So having Conquer allows us to engage with other advocates all around the world that are similar to me, similar to Kevin. You know, we might not have our own organisations, but we have a story. You know, we've done education, we have had appropriate training, you know, assist and mental health first aid, so we can talk about our stories in an appropriate way. Let's bring these people over and start sort of what we class as disrupting it a little bit. Like I said, we've got to do things a little bit differently.
Oh, of course, because it is a different subject.
It is, yeah, and everyone's different. You know, every state in the US is like a different world. You know, no two states are the same over there. So finding different ways to engage people is really, really important.
So you're going to get back into that later in the year as well?
Yes, yep, back over. We've got the big behavioural health conference. So it's called the National Council for Behavioural Health, NatCon. This year it is in Washington, the end of April. Yes, we've got NatCon, and then we've got the American Association for Suicidology conference back to back. So there'll be a good group of us again over there in April, talking about all things lived experience. And, you know, you tend to find when you have a group of like 5 to 10 Australians rolling through a American conference, people tend to pay attention and think, who are these people?
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah, the first conference in Vegas, everyone was like, what? You know, traveling with Kevin, it looked like he had this massive entourage of people rolling with him. And they're like, they've got really weird accents. Yeah, so it's always an experience, that's for sure.
Most people think from our accent we're from England or something.
I know, yeah,
like,
usually we get England. No. Yeah, I usually get that actually, yeah, England.
Oh, there you go. But everyone else is loud and rowdy.
Oh, yes, we do have a few of those in the group, that's for sure.
It's the way to grab the attention.
It is, yeah. People
we're from Conker, look us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, something that did blow me away about the movie, and I hope everyone goes to watch it as well, is that Kevin said for one death by suicide, 115 people minimum guys, are affected and impacted.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. I was like, I can't even name 115 people that know. Yeah. Well, probably, but it'd take a very long time. But did that blow you away too? Like, especially with all the interviews that he did and, you know, learning about other people's stories as well.
I think it did and it didn't. I mean, I experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, exactly.
After Aidon passed away, I mean, the chapel where we had his service was overflowing with people, and people I'd never met before.
Wow.
And we, you know, I'm pretty sure, and he won't mind me saying this, I'm pretty sure he had like 5 girlfriends that they didn't know about each other. We didn't know about them.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah, good on him. So it was, I mean, we were blown away. Like, oh wow, we didn't know he knew this many people. And it wasn't just his direct friendship group, it was the friends of friends of friends that had heard about him, or that had you know, had some small impact that he might have spoken to them, and they felt a loss because they couldn't quite comprehend that he would do something like this. So I can understand with the 115 people, you know, we have places where we work, we have our friendship group, we have family group, but it ripples down and it trickles down through friendship groups and families and things. So it just shows it's not that one person who just passes away that the world loses. It's that ripple effect of everyone else and what they go through and how they deal with it, how they make sense of it. That is the hardest part of suicide, is the why after.
It's even more if you're in the public eye and stuff.
It is, yeah.
Oof, that number for us all will be.
It is, and it just shows bigger. Like I think it's now 1 in 3, nearly, 1 in 3 people suffer a mental health condition. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's nearly the whole world. So, you know, everyone is going through something at some point in their life. So talking about it more like it's just everyday conversation, it can't harm. We've shown that talking about it actually helps.
It does.
So we need to start doing it a bit more.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing that in Australia too.
Yeah.
Now, something that I don't know if this came to your mind as well, because when I was watching the movie and then hearing about your story with Aidon, that Kevin, you know, jumped off that bridge when he was 19, and Aidon died by suicide at 19. Yeah. Do you think 19 is, I don't know if that's just a coincidence?
No,
but
I mean, it is, I guess, from 16 to 24 is the number one. Suicide is the leading cause of death for Australians. Wow. 16 to 24. Car accidents, heart attacks, all of these things. Suicide's number one.
Yeah.
And we always talk about the fact, you know, over Easter and Christmas, they put up like a map of Australia and they have like the road toll of people that have died. You know, they put up the stats of how many people have died in each state. It would be really confronting to do that with suicide because people would, I think, be really shocked.
And then compare it, like put the two like, road next to it as well.
Oh my God, like this is a serious thing because we don't talk about it a lot. So I think that, you know, we sometimes need a little bit of a shock factor with people, but you know, 19-year-olds, and we're noticing it a little bit, and I noticed it even, I have a younger brother as well, resilience. You know, kids aren't learning to fail. Kids aren't learning to try a little bit harder in school. You know, I know when
we get
my
a participation ribbon now.
Yeah, you know, it has to be a balance. There obviously has to be a balance. But if I failed a test in school, I failed a test. I had to find a way to work harder. And I know with my brothers, they would get like a B because they tried their hardest. So it's kind of noticing this cycle now where the resiliency of kids is not as it was. You know, my brother, he had a relationship breakdown and an argument with friends, and we notice with kids now, that's like it's the end of the world. Whereas that's just a part of growing up. That's a
Yeah.
part of life experience. But for a lot of these kids, this is the end of their world. Like, oh my God, I've broken up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And that can be used sometimes as a trigger to do something very silly and something that they can't change. So it's trying to teach kids about resilience. Again, you know, from a little age, we're kind of having to go back and readjust a little bit and say, okay, we need to build up this resilience in kids a little bit
Instead
more.
of like, just saying that the whole world is sunshine and rainbows and
It's
kind of
all
putting
about
you in a
life
bubble.
lessons. I always laugh with my mum and say, you know, at 30 years of age, I don't want any more life lessons. And she always laughs and says, I've got a few more obviously to come. But, you know, we're learning lessons every single day. And it's
That's
okay
what
to
makes
fail.
life exciting.
Yeah, it's okay to fail. It's important. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. But for a lot of these young kids, again, with social media, I never had the Instagram or the Facebook. The closest thing I had was MSN Messenger or
I remember
MySpace
that.
came in, you know, right when I started work. So we didn't have the Instagrams and the filters and the Snapchats and I can't even
We could go on and on and on.
Yeah, and I probably don't even know half of them. I can't even imagine what that's like. You know?
Especially around 19 too. It's
Oh.
just after 18, so you've just come out of school, and kind of, I'm sure you can agree too, it kind of hits you after school, because especially if you've been in that bubble the whole time, and then you come out and go, whoa, the world sucks.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? There's so much expected of us and so much pressure on people to look good and feel good all the time. And we try and say this in every presentation. Social media is just perception. It's very rare that you are going to put up a photo of you crying your eyes out because you've had a really crap day at work. No, you're going to put up your Snapchat filter with your little doggy ears, like I've done it.
Yes.
And, you know, everything's great and ha ha ha, you know, have a fantastic day. No one puts up the bad stuff.
Well, I heard somewhere too, and it resonated with me, and I loved it, was that Facebook and just any social media is kind of like your trailer of all your good stuff.
Yeah, it
but
is.
you never show like the bloopers and all the bad stuff.
No, you don't.
It's very true. It's just your show reel of all
And that's
what's
what
exciting in your life.
And that's what I always say to people, you know, when you're looking at someone else's social media and you think they have the best life in the world, they're probably going through exactly what you're going through. They're just not putting it on Facebook. You know, even silly things like I get to travel all over the US, but I complain and get up early for airports and, you know, having to pack everything into a small suitcase. You know, it's first world problems, but people think it's such a high lifestyle and an amazing lifestyle to travel all over the US.
travel
and
all
things.
over the
Yeah,
world.
because that's what I put up on Facebook. But they don't see the 4 a.m. starts and the 2 a.m. going to bed and the, you know, all the busyness that happens with life. Because we don't put that out there.
Yeah.
We want people to think that everything's good. So it's trying to be more authentic with ourselves. It's a bit hard on social media.
Yeah, I was
You know,
going to
if you-
say stop posting all your bad stuff,
Yeah,
but then
if you-
also
if you
then it will
can't
turn
do
negative.
Yeah, if you can't do it on social media, which is going to be really hard, you know, at least be authentic with your friends and family. Tell them how you're really feeling, what you're really going through, and that's a good start.
Yeah. Sometimes even I like to put the authentic stuff up just now and then, just to, you know, make sure
keep
people
everyone in
know that
check. Yep.
I am still normal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interviewing all these amazing people, but, you know, I still sometimes wake up and don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah,
and-
stay in your tracky pants.
Yeah,
do nothing all
exactly.
day.
Do nothing. You get it. You get it. We're
I
very
would prefer
similar
to do that every
lifestyle.
single day. Netflix and the couch.
I'll
every
just
single
raise
day.
awareness from my couch.
Yeah. I'd be happy to do
If
that.
only. That would be really cool. Now, there is a Q&A premiere
Yes.
screening tonight
Yes.
for the movie, and you are one of the guest panelists. Not to
Yay.
freak you out and just remind you of all the people
I
that
know.
will be there.
No,
but
it'd be good fun.
what are you most excited about? What
What
can we all expect?
I think for me, I'm excited to see audience responses. So we had sort of the big world premiere in Baton Rouge last week, Louisiana, and the responses were incredible. You know, from little kids to adults. You know, one guy said, you know, my wife dragged me here. I didn't really want to come, but I'm actually really glad I did.
And they're huge crowds too, I've seen from
Yeah, it's
Kevin's Facebook.
yeah.
Jeez.
He's a little bit of a pseudo celebrity in the US, which you would hate us saying, but he is a little bit. And you know, just seeing people's responses. I have been fortunate enough to see this film nearly 40 times.
40
Yeah,
times.
through every sort of process of editing and
Oh, there's me again. Oh,
yeah, you know, you kind of just zone out after a while, but going through the editing process with both the directors, you know, I have no film background experience whatsoever, but watching it over and over, I feel like I've watched 40 different movies. You know, it's changed so much over the course of it. So to be able to sit down in a big theatre, watch it on the big screen, and I think I'll be more watching the audience than I'll be watching the actual movie.
Just stand up the front and just
Yeah,
look.
I think it'd be a bit of a distraction. I think I'll watch it.
It's like, I'm just trying to find someone.
Yeah, I think I'll watch it in Sydney. I'll sit and I'll actually watch it on the big screen, and then in Melbourne, I think I'll be sort of watching the audience a little bit more, because I know the impact it has on me watching this film. I really want to see the impact it has on people that might not be exposed to mental health and suicide, what their thoughts and feelings are on it. So I'm excited.
Get ready to see some tears.
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
And some
Yeah.
people going, wow. Like,
Yeah.
how many times I went, whoa, that, like, just...
It's
for
so
certain
unbelievable,
Things, like,
that's the thing.
statistics and things that you don't really think about, and you just go, wow, you know?
Yeah. It's shocking, but in some ways, like we said, it's important to be shocked sometimes, because it makes us go, oh, hold on a second, that's really sort of changed my thought. Yeah, and confronting. You know, okay, we actually do need to do something about this.
And there's amazing other guest panelists
Yes,
as well.
there is.
And
Oh, yes.
You've met them all
the
as
team
well,
report,
haven't you?
they're all in the film, so they'll be there. Joe Williams, I'm going to have to rattle them all off, and if I forget one, I'm in real trouble. Matt Runnels is going to be there, Patrick Lawson, Sam Webb, he was on Survivor Sam will be there. Who else am I forgetting? Probably a few people. Greg Van Borsen.
I've got a whole list here.
Have
if
you?
you want to
Okay,
read
good.
them off.
So I'll just, here we
There
go.
we
I just
go.
don't want to forget anyone. Joe, Sam, Greg Van Borsen, Nick Newling, Matt Runnels, and Ben Higgs as well. So these guys
And
are
Lauren
all,
Breen.
and me. Yeah, I'll be me. Yeah. I feel like I'm behind the scenes. I don't really want to be on
it's
the
like,
panel.
who's that?
I'm happy to just float and take photos for social media. That's kind of my
And look
thing.
at everyone's reactions.
Yeah, that'll be my thing. So amazing group of people. It's been a 2-year process, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
And if people can't come to the Sydney or Melbourne, it's okay. Don't stress. Yes. You can host your own screening.
You can.
Which is really exciting. So go to suicidetherippleeffect.com and you can just host a screening wherever you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in Australia. It could be...
Yeah, it can be anywhere in the
around
world.
the world.
Yeah, we've hit 350 worldwide now. Screenings already organised for the next 2 months, which is exciting. Got one in Switzerland, which is very random but very exciting.
Good on you, Switzerland.
Yep. And I think nearly 45 in Australia alone. So it's happening. But yes, get to suicidetherippleeffect.com.
And let's make it even bigger than
Yes.
350. Let's boost it up to the millions.
Yeah, and it will be
I'm
going
sure
for
there's
it will
enough
be going
cinemas
for a long
yeah.
time. Yeah, so that's the thing. Eventually we'll be on the Netflix and iTunes and all of those things. But yeah, we want to try and get this out to communities first, and then
make sure everybody knows about the movie so that it can get on Netflix.
exactly.
That would be exciting.
Yes, that is the whole point. So
Yes,
exciting.
I'm very excited. Now, Lauren, we are getting to the end of the interview. It feels really weird to say Lauren.
Yeah, I know. It's like talking to you like when I
It's like,
type
"Hi,
emails
Lauren."
to you. It's like, hi, I'm like, this is weird. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny. Your first email, I'm just like, is this a bounce back from what I
Yeah,
just said?
from
No,
what I've
no,
just
it's
written.
not. Okay, it's good. We're wondering if you have any advice for the listeners who might want to become a mental health advocate.
Yes. So I remember when I first started about 8 years ago, it was really hard to get involved. Lived experience was a bit of they have a story. Okay, well, if you're not a clinician or a psychologist, thanks,
Can't do
but it's a bit
anything.
hard.
Yeah.
We are now in a completely different phase where your story has power. So I would recommend volunteering for a local organisation. So you've got Lifelines, Headspaces, Beyond Blues. Like, there's some amazing organisations. Go and volunteer. Build those networks and connections. Go out and see what's happening. Learn about what's happening on the ground. And then there's so many different trainings and things. So I said mental health first aid is a really good one, assist training, and then there's some really good storytelling training as well. Because it's important to tell your story, but you need to know if you're ready. You need to be able to get up and talk about your story without having a complete breakdown, or you need to be able to tell it in a hopeful way. Because we don't want to leave people feeling worse off than when they walked in the room. And
that's not what we want.
and it does happen. This is such a personal topic for so many of us. You do get emotional and you can tear up, and that's a normal human reaction, but we need to leave people with hope. We need to leave people with a message that it can get better, there is help out there, and this is how you can get help. So I would recommend anyone that wants to tell their story is first connect with your local organisations, volunteer, learn the lay of the land, what's going on, because you will then be connected to this hub of people. And a lot of the people that work within those organisations have their own story. They might not talk about it publicly, but they have their own story.
Yeah. That's so exciting. All right. We've got to go look into all that.
Yes, in all the free time that we all have.
Yes,
It's
somewhere.
very rewarding. It is very
somewhere
rewarding.
in there, but yeah, it is very
it
rewarding.
is.
I've even come across all that. So it's fantastic. And before we do end the interview as well, as a closing statement, probably the most important question.
Okay.
No,
No, I
what-
have to do a statement. So, oh God, I haven't pre-prepared anything.
Which is good. I like to put you on the spot. Knowing what you know now,
Yes.
what would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Oh, it's very scary. Oh, I think for me, my 14-year-old self is, you'll be okay. You are resilient, and life is full of lessons. I think if I had known that, I would be a lot more prepared to deal with a lot of the things that have come. You know, I'm a pretty resilient person, but knowing what I know now, you know, life is full of lessons and they're never going to stop.
Yeah.
So just go with the flow.
Oh, that's
Baby
fantastic
steps.
advice for all the young listeners too, not just your 14-year-old
Yeah.
self. Now, Lauren, before we go, if the listeners would like to contact you or find out what you're up to, where should they go?
Well, firstly, probably suicidetheRippleEffect.com. It's where I'm spending a
Definitely.
lot of my time at the moment. But other than that, laurenbreen.com.au is all of my own speaking things. Again,
Which is a beautiful website, by
yeah.
the way.
Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, in the US with Kevin and the team, so you can always sort of find us even on Kevin's Instagram page, Kevin Hines Story. You'll see sort of everyone, every member of the crew and the team floating around the US somewhere. So you'll be able to find us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Lauren.
you for
I
having
really
me.
appreciate your time, and let me know if there's anything else I can do to help. I'd
No,
love to.
thank you for raising awareness.
No, you're welcome.
Doing these type of things is so important for listeners. It's a good stepping stone for people to
It is.
maybe want to find out more information, more detailed information.
Especially with the younger listeners,
Yes.
we need to start getting them aware of all this as well. So if there's anything you want to collab on in the future, you and I, you and Kevin, whatever,
Oh.
I'm here for you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm
we
here
will hold you to that.
I'm here with the whole team.
You're part of the team now.
I am. There you go. Just
We'll
without
have
any-
you on the speaking circuit in no time.
Great, I'll be there on the guest panel tonight.
Yeah, we will.
Now, for everyone watching, make sure to check out Suicide: The Ripple Effect documentary. And also, if you're having issues, you know, call up Lifeline or any of those amazing organizations as well. And check out Lauren, 'cause she's incredible. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.